And here we go. Welcome everybody to episode 57 of I Just Got My Kid to Sleep. I'm Michael Palsack, and my kid is named Jack, and he's asleep right now. He's asleep. I'm cheating. It's a nap time. He's at school. At school, they take a nap. If you're new to the podcast, video of the podcast, it's called I Just Got My Kid to Sleep. And I failed the last couple weeks I get him to sleep, but then I go to sleep too. It really hurts the podcast. It's like one of my needs is being stepped upon, and I'm going on strike from, it appears, an unplanned strike. But don't worry, we're still no one's revoked our super dad trophy. But I guess it's more of a podcast thing. You can still be a good dad, not have a podcast. Right? Please tell me I'm right. This is where I'm putting everything. This is where I'm putting my whole career. So this has to be right. No, I'm very happy. Jack is too, I think. We'll find out. You know, kids say things, right? Like kids will be like, I love you, Dad. I love you, Daddy. And I don't know if it's because in that moment, there's like a shining spark, a realization that this is the moment that defined maybe this moment or this day or this year or this lifetime as one of happiness, and they want to share that with the person they're closest to in that moment, which is me, his father, or if he just can't believe I'm letting him stay up that late. He's just like, Mom would never. I love you, Dad. I don't know. I think it's probably a little bit of both. So it's just a challenge to get him to sleep. That's the only thing. Here are my skills. If I was a video game dad, which, only can dream that this podcast is a video game. Not right now. Like, I know it's real life, but sometimes I just feel like doing it. Anyway, I feel like my food part would be pretty high. We eat our meals. Usually we get luncheon, and then my moral support measure would be really high. My listening, I'm a really good listener. My love, and then my down sleep and stretching would be. The other day he had it's not all about kids, but this one started out that way. He started out. We went to my gym yesterday. My gym is a gym, and one of my friends used to throw the javelin in the Olympics, and he was like, kids, Tom Putzkes. And he was like, the best thing for kids is gymnastics. So there's this place down the street called My Gym. They're everywhere. And I thought that was all gymnastics. But I think the gym in the title is just like, my gym. Like a kid being like, no, this is my gym. Implying that the parents have time to go to their own gym. And that they're just now like, now this is my gym. Now we're going to my gym, Mommy and Daddy. Yeah, everything is yours, okay? This is your bedroom. This is your house. This is your TV. None of it's mine anymore. Do we have to take away everything? So, or pretend that you're not. So we we go there, and they're warming up or whatever. It was his first class, and they're supposed to like stretch out their legs, and he can't. He can't touch his toes while sitting down with his legs straight out. It would not be a presidential fitness champion at age, 6. And I was like, that's on me. That's something that I was born with, and we don't do a lot. I guess you don't really think of like stretching when they're babies, like, I guess that's the one thing I could have done more, has been like, hey, we're going to watch Sesame Street. Let's stretch, breathe in. I know you don't understand English yet. Breathe out and stretch. That's me coaching my baby. But it was very fun. I started to question how important stretching. I know stretching is important for some people, and it is important to warm up. But this is a good tip part of the show. Oh, I forgot to do the theme song. I'd have to listen to it again. I just got my kid to sleep. That's not the same one. We'll vote on them. At the end of the 10-year run, we'll vote on which is the best. Whoever's still with us. Not like you wouldn't be alive, but like listening. I'm looking in beyond the camera because I remember I needed a prop. Hold on. Don't go anywhere. Remember last time this happened? Okay. I got it. I'm coming right back. All right. Here we are. Was that good? Yeah. Next week, we're going to have a goal of not getting up at all during the podcast. That's your guys' job. You guys get to get up. I don't necessarily get to get up. I got to sit here. That's all I have to do. Whew. Okay. I had an interview today, and I thought about being like, I don't have a lot of guests on the show. I got this guy today. This guy's name is Rainy. He's a reindeer. I named him that. Jack. I just figured Jack would name him that. It's not mine. It's from Medora, North Dakota, when Jack was performing there, and I was just doing shows. And no, Jack wasn't performing. He was just along for the ride, but he had a lot of fun interacting with the audience after the shows. And he got a stuffed animal named Rainy. Just one. Only one. I limited him to one per day we were there. You got to have boundaries. And sometimes he would ask, he'd be like, you can get one for you too, Dad. So that's really two for him. But this guy, he's recycled, which I don't know if that's good for animals. But anyway, I don't have a lot of guests on the podcast. I don't have any. But people ones, at least. Am I getting too hot on the mic? Maybe I'll go down. That's like, what's in between? Can't you just stay at a normal place? So I had to do a radio interview, radio is fun. I had to do a radio interview one time when Jack was like, he was probably like 2 or 3. Everything seems like it was 2 or 3. That's when we moved in here. It was 2, not 2 or 3. Right before 2. And I had to do this radio interview. And when you have like a young child, they, you can't like just let them be by themselves, really. So I was like, I'll take this call and I'll do it while Jack is, maybe playing a little bit by himself. But then once they know that you need them to be by yourselves, it's like, what are you doing on camera still? Here. If you're going to be on camera, stick your face out. I'm talking to the stuffed animal. See? He's not going to stay still. Okay. So what I did was I just started doing the interview. And then once the child realizes that you have some free time, they just start interacting with you. And so I was doing the phone interview for the radio. It was like live, and Jack was kind of talking, which was cute. And then I put him on speaker, and I was like, Jack, I'm on the radio right now. And he's like, no, you're on the phone. I think I said something like, do you want to say anything? He's like, no, you're on the phone, which was funny. And he didn't even mean it to me. Anyway, one stuffed animal per day on vacation. That's a hard. So what happened was he was there with me, and I would do my show, and then afterwards I would say hi to people as they were leaving, and the lady that was watching them had to leave early, so she would go home to her kids, so I just had Jack, and we would just walk around the theater or whatever, and he knew where the gift shop was, and so he'd go up there, and then that was it. And my mom warned me. I was like, what could be the problem? And she's like, well, where are you going to put all of them? And I was like, that's a good question. And then I realized the floor was an option. And now that's like part of his room, which is good. It's nice and soft. Anyway, back to the scheduled thing. This is very scheduled. So I had an interview today for my show. I'm doing a show in Elgin, Illinois. Elgin, Illinois is it's north of Chicago. And there's a theater there called the Hemmons Cultural Center. It's named after Chris Hemsworth. No, that's not. I should get my information correct if they're having me in their town. I mean, I'm sure this is like grant money that's bringing me in. So it's my first like big theater, like over 1,000 people by myself. No, my friend Jim Flanagan, the original Irish Chicago comedian, Irish American. No, Jim Flanagan is very funny, and he's opening, and it's May 24th in Elgin, Illinois. It's my first theater. And it's your first when they give you the offer, and you're like, do they know? Right? Like you can't ask that in the email chain that they might be CC'd on, but do they know that this is my first? For the people that aren't comedians, that aren't moving through clubs to theaters, having not sold out many clubs, it's like if you were at work, right? And all of a sudden your boss wants to give you a promotion, but you have to do this thing and you've never really, you could do it, but it really involves, I guess, selling a lot of a product to a lot of customers. And it's just kind of expected that you will, and you've never sold that much before. And not that you couldn't, and not that what you sell isn't good or great or worthy of it. It's just never, ever, 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 ever happened before, even in areas where a lot of people you love live in one night, maybe over a week. Anyway, so we're getting the word out, and it's at the Hemmons Cultural Center in Elgin, Illinois, May 24th. It's a Saturday or Friday, and it'll be really fun. It's a Saturday. I'm going to the White Sox game the day before, so it'll be like no matter what happens, I got this game to go to. That's what's fun about having a fun thing with family. My aunt's friend Dave has season tickets to the White Sox. Buy low, sell high, and he had some tickets that day, and so I got the tickets. And I'm really important to this game because I'm the only one going that really has skills when it comes to tickets on my phone. No one else in the group knows how to go to things on their phone. My aunt could probably figure it out, but my mom and dad are not helpless, but they're not helpful. So I got to go to that game. I'm super excited because if you haven't been to a White Sox game, it's it's baseball. It's really entertaining. And also the food is some of the best in the country, baseball stadium wise. So a lot of promos here. But anyway, I'm doing the Hemmons Cultural. So I'll probably mention it again between now and May 24th, 2025 as my debut theater show. Fly in for it if you want. It's not far from O'Hare. No, I'll come to your town. Yeah, this was lady from the newspaper. They're like the cultural center. The guy there, his name is Tony or Anthony. I don't know. You ever meet someone and you're like, I think I know them, and I've seen their name as Tony and Anthony, but I don't think I've met them in person, so I don't get a good feel whether they're a real Tony or they're an Anthony. Like I feel like it's a little, there's a Tony and then there's an Anthony. Is he a Tony or is he an Anthony? Or just what does he prefer? Because his email says Anthony, but he signs his things Tony. So I feel like whatever you sign it as is what you want to be called. So I just answered my question. He's a Tony. And he was like, the paper wants to interview you. The newspaper, the thing that people used to read a lot. And now it's on the internet and they make you pay for it sometimes, which is you do a Google search and then this thing will come up and then you'll try to click on the story and then it'll be like, can you subscribe? And you're like, but this is free somewhere. And I don't know if it really is. So I was like, of course, I would love, I get a newspaper. I would love to talk. And I was like, let's do it as soon as we can, because I always get these stuff like right before. And then it's like, when are we going to get it done? So I was like, I'll just do it. And so I was like, you just do it. Well, I'll do it today. I said that yesterday. That's how committed I am to the town of Elgin. I was like, I will do this newspaper interview today, even though it's not due for like over a month. And they're like, how about tomorrow? And I was like, okay, if we want to wait, let's just not have it be one of those things where we just keep putting it off because next thing you know, it's May 23rd. I'm at a White Sox game May 23rd. So maybe I could throw out the first pitch. That would be cool. I'm going to ask Tony about that. It might be easy because I already have tickets. I don't know if that's how first pitches work, where you're like, hey, I'm going to the game. I already bought my ticket, so if you don't have anybody, can we promote my show? Anyway, but he might be up for it, Chicago is not far from Elgin. The south side kind of is, but maybe if I throw my... It is always interesting, because I have friends that have thrown out first pitches at games, and I just wonder how much it helps. I've done it one time at a spring training game. I have the ball. I didn't bring the ball out. I'm not going to make another trip. I'm staying here for you. You go get a baseball and look at it and know that that's what mine looks like. You don't have to go unless you have like AirPods in, which I recommend. Those are good. Those are my favorite pods. One of my top pods is an AirPod. Number 2 pod is the Pod Hotel in Brooklyn, where it's a nice, like, it's clean, it's nice. It was new, like, 10 years ago I went there, and it's a pod because it's small, so that, like, the toilet is in the shower, so that's how it saves room, and that's how it's a little cheaper, because they're like, well, we're not gonna charge like $400 a night, so you can't. Now you get to shower on the toilet or near the toilet. I wonder how. I think it's like there's enough room for both. But anyway, but yeah, I wonder how much, if I were to go to the White Sox game and throw out the first pitch, and they would say that the show was, if people would watch the pitch and be like, I gotta see that guy, like wow, did you see that late movement? He might have jokes too. I don't know. It would be fun though, because they're my favorite team when I was a kid, and I've had favorite teams since. I feel like it's like a relationship, But I think they're still my favorite. I live in LA now, and the Dodgers are really good, but I think the White Sox. I think my heart is still in Chicago. Anyway, that would be cool. But I did the newspaper interview, and I've never had a guest on this podcast, mainly because I shoot it in a bathroom after my kid goes to sleep, and that doesn't align with a lot of people's geographical and time schedules. Before I started doing a podcast, someone was like, "Oh, you should just do guests," and I was like, "Well, that would just be like my kid every week, So I'd never had a guest, and I knew that they were calling, and I was like, "What if I could just have them call and put them on speaker, and then the interview is part of the episode, and they might not even know." And it's like two birds. One, we don't need to talk about murdering birds, but like I could just do it. I'd have to tell them later. Then there's a chance where they could be like, "Hey, we don't want to be on your podcast," which that would be kind of rude. I'm doing your interview. They would probably say yes. They would, I think they would say yes. Anyway, the interview was really fun. I'll read it aloud on an episode. So it's like the same thing. That's something to look forward to. Michael's going to read aloud an interview he did on the episode. No, I'll post it on Instagram or something at Michael Palisak. That's where I posted a lot of stuff. So anyway, that was I did an interview. Look at me. Whew, what did I took my kid to school. Whoa. I did an interview. I took a nap. Yeah, I did. I'm not going to do two back-to-back things without a nap. And then I set up my studio, and here we are. Here we are, everybody. Episode 57, bringing it fast to you in your living rooms. That's what they say used to say when it was TVs. And you're bringing it straight to your living room. Bring it straight to your area. Okay, so before that, even though I forgot to schedule this topic until that last sentence, I also went to Trader Joe's after I dropped off my kid to school. And I'm not giving out too much information because it wasn't close to where he went to school. So you can't figure out anything. Not that. But I don't know if you know about Trader Joe's. I know you know about Trader Joe's. But my aunt knew Joe. Yeah. And she said that. And there's no way we can check. So it's true. And her dad knew Joe. It was in California. And I've always had I like Trader Joe's. They hide a stuffed animal tiger we talked about. So if your kid's with you, and when you take your kid to the grocery store and they're like running around a lot, they have something to look at. They can look up while they're running around so they don't see the people they're about to hit. And then they get a free sticker and a lollipop possibly. I love how when I go to Trader Joe's with my son, the cash register person will like give stickers to Jack, and then they'll look at me and be like, "Is it okay?" Like, is it okay? Like, because they want to know whether it's okay to give them like a sucker or a lollipop, and I think that's very nice of them because there's no judgment. I don't feel like they're being like, "Is it okay? Are you an uptight parent who's afraid of sugar?" Or are they like, "Is it okay? Because you know what this is gonna do to him?" Like, no, it's just like, I have this thing. This is going to keep you coming back. Is it okay if I give it? And I'm always like, yeah. I always say yeah. I just remembered something my son said that would be good for court cases. No. Um, I I always do that. When I was a kid, there was a grocery store called Clark's, and it was owned by the Clarks in our town, and they had a kids cookie club, which was really nice because it was the only. I guess there was another grocery store, but it was a little smaller called Low Bill. What a great name, you know? It's you get a bill for your groceries. It's low. It's a low bill, and Low Bill Foods is maybe what it was called. And then there was Clark's, and Clark's was just the bigger one. You know, it's not nothing against Low Bill, but it's bigger. And so they had a cookie kids club, and it used to be if you went there, you get a free cookie as a kid. And the first couple times, I remember being like I don't know, not necessarily a good cookie. But then they started giving out these frosted ones where the eyes were blue and then the mouth was red. And the frosting was just enough to be delicious and amazing, but not too much to overpower the cookie. It like enhanced everything. And they were so good. I can't believe they were free. I'm starting to think now maybe they weren't free, but my mom was like, we're not eating the bad cookies. And I'll always remember that kindly. So when they ask if I want a sucker, I'm like, well, it's no cookie from Clark's, but sure. So went to Trader Joe's, right? I'm going there right after I drop my kid off at school. I have this interview, possible podcast guest at 10 a.m. And then I drop him off at school first. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to go to the grocery store. I'm going to go to the grocery store. I'm going to go to the grocery store. Going to the grocery store. And the Trader Joe's one flaw is their parking situation. If there's any cars at all that are parking, it's just like, it's packed. I can't go in. You know, it's like a small lot. So you pull in, you're like, what am I waiting for? You know, and there's spots on the other side, but you got to wait. And anyway, I did. And I started to become suspicious, you know, because I didn't even know they were open at 9. And actually, I guess they open at 8. But I, usually I'm sleeping because I just got my kid to sleep the night before and I did the podcast and then I'm napping, you know. But as I'm walking in to the grocery store, there's a mom with 2 children, both in the cart, no food with them. And I'm observing, you know. I'm like Will Smith, MIB1, observant. Like, why is that kid reading that calculus book or whatever it was? That's the alien. That's a Men in Black, Will Smith. I don't support the slap, but we all got to move on, I guess. I haven't heard Chris's opinion on it. So, Mr. Rock, isn't it weird that we have a Chris Rock and then we have a The Rock? That I don't know if that should be allowed. Like, in Hollywood, you can't have the same name as a person. You have to change part of your name or add an initial. And so Chris and The are enough different. I don't know. And they both feel like they should be rocks, you know? Anyway, I see a lady coming out, 2 kids, no food, cart. She's leaving. And I'm like, what's that about? So then I get in, I'm grocery shopping, and there's like a bunch of lines. And one of them is just really backed up. And I'm like, oh no, I gotta get back for this podcast guest. I'm gonna try to trick into being on my podcast. I realized I couldn't because I record on my phone, and I know what the sound would be like. That was a little regret. But so I'm like, what's going on? I get my food. I'm not worried too much about it. But then I see, oh, not all the lines are like that. And then I see this. I see this Trader Joe's springtime tote. Is that what it's called? Can you see it? Here it is. I got the green one. Mini pastel canvas tote bag. And this is what everyone was lining up. I was told people were there at 6:30 this morning lining up to buy these. This is green. This was the last color available, which I don't know why. Jack assigned that to me as my favorite color. So I bought one. I was the last person today to get one at my Trader Joe's. This was the very last one. I didn't even have to wait in the special line. They sold out of all of them, and then the lady was counting up how many people were still waiting for one. And there was that, and then one more left, and I was like, I'll take it, and then I just bought it. Because that's a good reason to buy something. Everybody else does. It was only $3.99, and I'm sure it cost not its quality. So someone explained to me, it fits almost over my head, why are these so valuable, you know? It's a mini tote, which is, I think it's a purse with no zipper, so that this is nice because then things can fall out, and we're all trying to get rid of stuff, you know? So, yeah. But the guy ringing me up, the cash register, as they like to be called probably, he told me that when they first came out last year, or whatever year it was, that the people would buy them and then sell them for $45 online, or if you had the whole set, they're going for $500. And they're mini, like, you can't even, like, grocery shop with it. Like, what are you going to put? One box of crackers? Oh, I brought my own bag. Please don't use yours. I just brought my own bag. But maybe that's what makes it so original, is that it's so useless. No, it's not. Machine wash cold, and it will shrink slightly. This is going to shrink slightly. How much smaller? No, But anyway, that was an adventure. I love it when I get something that everyone else spent a lot of time trying to get, and I didn't really care. I was in my line, and it was right next. I went to go to a different line, and this guy came over and got me. That's how nice Trader Joe's is. They're all there, and they're just like, we're getting people through here. Water from Trader Joe's. Natural mountain spring water. Let's see if they say the mountain. Oh, yeah. Directly at the source in Olancha, California. Someday I want to visit all the sources. I think that'd be a good podcast. I think I have to do that more when I'm drinking water on the podcast, so you know the drink is done, so you don't go away. So I'm in line, in my normal line. The guy brings me over to like his line because there's no line. And he's like, oh, and I'm like, I'm talking about the bags, which is nice. It's a nice conversation. It's like something cool that I didn't know about and hip, and now I know about it. And I'm like, oh, I got a podcast. I'm not gonna have time for that guest anymore, which is good because I didn't really know if I could legally do that. So he's telling me all about it, and I'm seeing the people in line, and there's a lady at the end of the line who works there. She's a cash register or whatever. I don't think they like to be called cash registers, Michael. That's the thing. Clerks. Anyway, I always say anyways. Anyway, I don't think anyways is a word. So she's at the end, and she has all the colors. When I first get there, there's all the colors, maybe 3 of the colors. And then as I'm getting in line, there's like 2 colors left. And you can buy 1 of each color. That's the rule. You can't just roll in with $100 and buy as many as you can. Trader Joe's isn't like that. They're not like, we're here to sell food, okay? This is just a promotional thing that is mostly useless but looks cool. And really, what do you 3 things of fruit? Anyway, this is such like a one-person bag. Like if you go to the Trader shop every 2 days. You can't even fit like a milk. It's a cool thing. I don't mean to rip on it. So it gets down to where there's like pink and green. And then I like hearing the talk, the people who are excited about it. Like one girl's like, Hollywood was already sold out. Oh, yeah, that's why we came here. Like all these things. We're in a hot place for these bags. And all women in line, by the way. Who cares? So I do think it's interesting. Because at some point, the lady who's handing them out is just like, all right. And then there's one guy in line. I shouldn't have said it was all women. There's one man, and he's like third away. And the lady's like, all right. And his face is just like, no. Like it's a very subtle no. It's a early morning. I'm awake. I have gotten a good night's sleep. I can hold it together. If this was later, I would freak out. No. And she's like, all right. All we have is green left. And he's like, you have green? Like, I don't know. Maybe he wanted it, but it kind of felt like he told someone he would get it for her. And it was you ever get that way as a man? I guess it's a human thing where like, someone else's thing becomes your project, and for whatever reason that's now your thing. It's like your mission. This isn't a kid's Easter dream. This is an adult purchase, right? So I would just like to follow that person home and just see if it's just him and his Trader Joe's bag, or if maybe there's a life partner or a relationship where they're like, waiting, and he walks in and he's just like, here you go. And they're like, oh, thank you. And he's like, yeah, I picked the green one out just for you. That's also the only one they had left. Anyway, if anyone wants to make a good offer on this, no, I think I might use it. It's pretty cool. And it feels cool knowing that it is pretty cool. I got to Google it to make sure it is cool. Like, that's one trick. If you ever run a grocery store or a company, it's just like hire a bunch of people to wait in line one night and then make your item really, really, really trafficy. Give it a lot of traffic, and then now it's a hot commodity. That's how I got to sell these Elgin tickets. I got to get people waiting out in line to buy them before they're already on sale. Next time. Anyway, that was part of the thing I did today. Now I'm doing the podcast. I'll talk about that on a different podcast. Oh yeah. Now it's time for the segment we've all been waiting for. How long does it last? How long did it last? How long did it last? How long does it or did it last? So we're doing contact solution the last 3 weeks. The last Tuesday in March, which I think means we're at 2 weeks. We're at 2 weeks. This is my reminder. Last Tuesday in March is when we did it. We couldn't put the dates because we keep our dates on our phone. And it's called BioTrue Bosch and Loam, and it's a multi-purpose solution. We made that joke last time. What is its purpose? Just being solution. So, but it's got multiple. It conditions, it cleans, and removes protein. Someone really copywrote this. So anyways, this is where we're at. We're at 2 weeks, and we got a significant amount left. That's what's cool about this shape in the world, because after 1 week, I was like, we're going to get 2 weeks max. But look at where we are. I would say we at least have another week, more than a week left. Make your predictions. Go to DraftKings.com. Lay down your bets. That would be awesome. No, but that could be easily influenced. I take my contacts out and put them in almost every day. Thursday's a travel day this week. I might not wear them at all because I have to wake up really early Friday. So, yeah. But I've realized this could have a lot more implications, because if I figure out how long it takes me to use one bottle of BioTrue Bosch and Loam, and then I figure out the price, then I can figure out how much I spend on this in a year, and then I can budget my contact solution money, because, you know, prices aren't going to go up in the world on contact solution, right? Why would that happen? Prices. So I'll have an idea, and then I can do that for other products. And then this becomes a podcast where I do that too. So, okay. Next, I got fired. I know. Who not from the podcast. I would have to fire myself from the podcast. It does seem like I'm more likely to get broken up with than fired, because I'm a comedian and I don't really work for people. But sometimes I do, but not anymore. I'm all my shows. If you go to my calendar, they are just me headlining the show. Not if you go to a date where I'm on it, unless it's like a local LA show. I'm in Brea at the Improv, and that's just me and an opener. But there'll be an opener and then me. I don't always get to pick the opener, but sometimes I do. So if you not a big fan, just wait a little bit. The most they do is a little bit. And if you are a big fan, try to, you don't have to say laughs for me, but just enjoy them as much as you can. So, I'd never been fired before. I think it's a healthy thing though. I realized later that it was healthy. Cause first off, I work for myself mostly. So it's not everything, I didn't lose everything. I just lost a little bit. And it wasn't like the best situation overall. It was just like a good situation. It was a good situation. And I don't know. Sometimes I try to like give advice in this thing, and I'm just like, oh, that's just me feeling like I went through something and trying to give it a reason, like maybe if I talk about it, then it was worth happening. Because I think it does hurt, and you just don't feel it as a man. That's the main way I think I handle a thing. Like I'll feel stuff on little things, like throwing away a thing that I used to have. Like I'll feel that. But then like a bigger thing, I'm just like, ah, 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 12 years or whatever it is. So I do think though. So I have a brother, I have friends who have had jobs and they'll talk about the tumultuousness in the workplace, you know? And I would never say this to friends or family who are in a bad work situation, but I always kind of like hint at the fact that like if you're getting paid and you know they're not, who cares, you know, just do your thing and or quit. But like if you can live with it, it's just you don't have to get involved emotionally. And then I was in a situation where people started to get involved emotionally. And I was like, oh, I feel it too. That's what I think is good about it. I can totally relate now to people who have jobs and then have a situation at work that's not ideal. And I think that's not really valuable information for anybody. But I was in a situation where I was doing shows and then the format was possibly going to change where I forgot to bring my merch. I sell shirts after shows and then I wasn't going to be able to sell shirts possibly, which I don't need to sell shirts. I do sell them because it makes money and I got to fund my Trader Joe's tote bag habit. So I was just kind of like, well, maybe I could just sell, and that was kind of shot down. And then I was like, well, I very because I feel like when you make extra money through your job, it's not part of your salary or whatever, but it's still money, you know? Like I don't have any income in my life where I'm like, let's just see what I do with this. And then I just go to Vegas once a month. Like everything I use for everything. So I was like, well, this is a lot of money. And so I asked for just more money for the shows. And that was not received very well. It was a very soft request. Maybe I should have Googled that. I heard some ChatGPT is a good source for that. How to ask for a raise. I said, would it be crazy to ask for a raise? Which I figured they could easily be like, no, it's not crazy. What are you thinking? You know? Or like, yeah, it is crazy. We'll let you know. And I didn't do that. The person I sent it to just sent an email to everybody saying that I was kind of demanding money and then and with a breakdown of what I am paid. And I thought about turning it into a thing about specifics with everybody. But then I was just like, no, I don't need to get into that. We just water under the bridge, move on. And, you know, I never have to talk about it again until my podcast when I go into every detail and can defend myself to the very last second without anybody stepping in and offering any other feedback. I'm sure they had other reasons. It just was timed out with the fact that I was not paid for something and it was taking a long time to get paid. And then they were saying that I might not be able to do this other way that makes money too after shows. And then I asked for more money and then they said, well, we're not going to do that. And if you don't want to do these shows and not make more money, we'll find somebody else. And I said, no, 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 no. I don't have pride or dignity. I will happy do these shows. And then I got an email like 2 weeks later after I did my last show there. And they were like, yeah, we're going to get somebody else. And I'm like, well, what's the point of asking me if I'll do the shows? I'm being very vague. It's probably hard to follow. But what's the point of asking me if I'll do the shows at the original price without being able to sell shirts? If I say yes and you're just like, yeah, it's kind of like, I did also in my 12 years of doing these shows, I did this past weekend ask for a different hotel. That's the only time I've ever done it, but it got a 3.8 rating on the Bonvoy app, which is very low. And it showed it. I saw it. It said 3.8 and no one gets 3.8. I realized it was downtown and they renovated, so it was probably fine. But I was just like, just give me the money because sometimes my hotel will get booked for me and my name's not on it. So I got to wait till other people check in and I'm just there, you know? Anyways, I feel like these are very valid reasons, and I've already talked about them with my parents, but I feel like, you know, you got to fill the podcast. So no, I think the advice is, my advice of being like, oh, if you're making money, just sort of go along with it. They might just fire you anyway. Or also secondary advice is that you should only ask for a raise if you're willing for them to fire you totally anyway. So it's not a bad thing. I'm going to still do the podcast, maybe more now. No, I don't know how I could do them. What am I doing? Twice a week? Um, anyways, would they do Seinfeld twice a week? No. So all my shows will be me headlining. I feel like I'm very appreciative of everything I had, and I'm very big fans of the people I used to work with, and maybe they'll come back in the future. Or maybe this theater thing will work out in Elgin at the Hemmons Cultural Center. I'll be giving away one free Trader Joe's tote bag. I don't even know if I'll have it then. I'll bring it. I'll try to remember to bring it. And if one person comes and asks me for it, the code word for this tote bag for the Hemmons Cultural Center in Elgin is, I heard it on your podcast, and I have one of one available. I'll put it in my thing. I'll put it in my merch thing. And, I don't know how that helps me sell tickets, but it's good. It's good because that's one thing I've learned about myself too, is that like as a child, when I learned about getting fired or quitting or asking for raises, I always felt like, oh, how would I do that? I would always just want to, be nice, or that seems like it would take a lot of courage to quit or to ask for something. And in the moment, it's really kind of clear, I feel like, and you just sort of follow your instincts or your heart, and hopefully they're in the right place at the moment. But yeah, I got fired. But I'm still doing a lot of shows, so that's good. And I'm appreciative of all that I had before. So what else? I got a little list here. I'm putting it behind here so you can't really see how long did it last. DraftKings.com. The over-under is 4 weeks. How much of this stuff is ever real? So I went to my gym with my son, and they have a open play afterwards, which was really fun. And we were in the class, and then you get to go and play with them. You can't do the stuff, but you get to make sure they don't like get hurt. And so like legally you're responsible. And I I did this thing where Jack found this like little somersault thing. You just get in, it's like a tire, but it's like soft and safe, and you just roll, and I have to roll him. And we did that probably for, no kidding, like 25 minutes. I just rolled him backwards on this thing over and over and over again. And there were all ages in there, all ages of kids. Like babies would come up to him, like trying to help me push him, and he just kept doing it. And then he found one where he's laying on his stomach, and a kid had a nosebleed. No, it wasn't a nosebleed. Their tooth fell out, and that was exciting. I did have a great weekend last weekend. I was in Michigan State University in East Lansing, which I talked about last time. But then the weekend I was near Youngstown, Ohio. At the time, I did an ad to get ready for this Hemmons thing, but in Youngstown, and it really drew out some really good, nice people. I'm very happy that I got to see there, and my aunt and uncle and my aunts and uncle came to the show, and we had dinner beforehand at Giorgio's with an I, not the first letter I, Giorgios. And what I like about Giorgio's is it's an Italian restaurant, right? And they have bread that's really good, but here, I know this isn't going to sound right, but they give you butter, which I know at a lot of Italian places, they're just like, oh, here's some water that's some yellow water. I know it's like oil or whatever, but it's just like, I'm American too. Like, I get it what the Italy thing is, but we Americans love our butter. Have you heard of Wisconsin? So they had butter, and I had a really good steak. And then what I love about going out to eat with my aunts and uncle is that we'll get our meal, and then it's such a good group to be a part of, because someone at one point will be like, this is all on me, and then another person will say, no, 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 and then I just sit there and I acknowledge that they're gonna figure that out. You ever go out to eat with people? It's really nice family where people are both trying to pay. Then you get to sort of like fade into the corner, like, oh, I have a kid, I'm about to get fired. It was really nice. And then at the end of the meal, that they were so nice to spend time with me at, my uncle was like, would you like to get dessert? Which, of course, that's the one thing I think I need to realize as a parent, is like the things that you like as a kid, you keep like I remember as a kid, I always wanted to get dessert, and my dad would be like, no, like dessert wasn't a thing most of the time, unless it was like Ponderosa, and it was like free, which we weren't even still allowed to get dessert then sometimes. Is that crazy? Then you got ice cream for free. Anyway, so I loved it, and I got this like chocolate cake. The server came over, and she was like, we were like, we're gonna have dessert, and then my uncle Wayne was like, what do you recommend? And the lady immediately, without even second guessing, was just like, without like she said, she was like carrot cake, and then and it was almost like a challenge, like I dare you not to eat this best dessert, and I was like, and then it came to me to order, and I was like, I'm getting the chocolate cake. Are you kidding me? Carrot cake? I'm not doing vegetables for dessert. So I get it. It was good according to the people that wanted to get more vegetables. I also feel though, like, and this is nothing against our server or Giorgio, but maybe they have some trouble pushing that carrot cake because of how good the chocolate cake is. I'm just saying. I don't know. This is a biased point of view by someone who doesn't eat carrot cake. So that's where it's coming from. I'm very forth in front of it. I don't eat carrot cake. So whenever someone says it at a restaurant, that's the best, I'm like, you're not selling that very much. It's like when I went to get my first like ever smartphone after my BlackBerry, and I was like, should I get an iPhone? They're like, you should try this Samsung. And then I got it. I'm like, I don't think that's what you think I should try. Like, I think that's what you're not selling right now is the Samsung. It's like when I went to buy my car. There's so many examples of this. I just can't stand the salesmanship. So I went to go buy my car this year, and my son and I live near a Toyota dealership. We just walked right there. My son used to walk by it when he was a baby. I was with him, and he would like run up like the ramp, and we'd go through the thing, and he would go up these stairs. It was like his own little playground. And at the time, I was like, well, he's a kid, but they're probably not. This is nice because maybe they're like, well, maybe he'll buy a Toyota, and then we did. And it's been the best car I've ever driven. And I've driven cars, So we went and we found this car, and it was a Corolla, and it was blue, and it was a hybrid, and it's the best car that I've purchased ever in LA. And maybe ever. And we bought, and it's like a normal looking Corolla. It looks cool. It's normal. It's not too cool. It's a Corolla. And then the guy, like, we're looking at this one, and he points at the hatchbacks, and he's like, these. You should really look at these. And I didn't see through it at the time. I was just like, oh, well, Jack really likes this one. But looking back, I was like, oh, I don't think they're selling those very well. Like, who would buy that one? Like, it's just not my taste. Anyway, that's just a little tip. Sales tip is that if you ask someone what they prefer, they might be what they prefer. But it might be really good, but it also might be just be the thing that's not selling, that they've already bought a lot of. So, but everyone that ate the carrot cake was very happy. And then I did my shows. The day before, my friend who I played baseball and football with in high school, Brad, came to my show. I don't know if he wants his whole name on there. And it was really nice to see him. It's good to see old friends. And then during the day when I got in, one of my best friends from college, like he's my best friend, but I don't think I'm his best friend. He had the day off, which I don't know if he did or he just did once I showed up. But last time I came in for lunch, we just like went to this coffee shop and it was really quick. And he's like, I got to get back to work. It was like one of those lunches or coffee things you have where you're like, I have all day. And you can tell the other person, people think they're still at work, where they're like, they're enjoying themselves, but there's not an ounce of relaxation. Like when I was starting out doing stand-up, I had a friend I was doing a show with, and she was directing it. Her name is Leah, and she just won an Emmy for The Tiny Chef. Watch The Tiny Chef on Paramount Plus and Nickelodeon. And she was directing a show I was in, but she also had a job during the day at the time. And I called her one time to talk about something, and like it sounded like she was like a spy, like hello. And she had talked very quietly, and I was like, oh, okay. And that's how it feels like when your friends meet you for lunch, but really people think they're still at work. But this time I showed up, and my friend's like, I'm hungry. We're going to get food. I was like, that sounds great. So we went to this cool place by the lake in Huron, which is a far drive, but it was really fun. And his parents have like a lake place there. And then he was telling me what they were doing that day. And he was like, well, my wife, they were getting mattresses as a family. And I was like, are you inviting me to do mattresses as a family? And And I don't think he was, but he said yes. So I had to do a phone call for a different podcast. Sorry, there's other ones out there. I'll go through that in the next podcast. And and then I was like, well, I'm gonna see. I was gonna text them and see if they're still at the mattress store, but I was like, you know what? It was like 10 minutes away. I was like, I'm gonna just go there. So I go there, and let me tell you guys something. Let me tell you that if you ever had the opportunity to go to a mattress store with friends and their children under the age of like 8, go, because you're in for it. Those kids had so much fun, and they weren't mine. So I felt no responsibility for the situation. Everyone was really cool with what was happening, but I feel like I would be like, if it was my kid, I'd be like, what are the rules here? But we were laying on all the mattresses. The kids were doing some jumping. I didn't do any jumping that anybody saw. And I really enjoyed, I really recommend highly, this is like a positive advice thing. Like if you do get fired, find some time to do things with people that's just like normal every day, because we don't always have to go get a meal. Just, what are you doing? I'm going to go. Anyways, that was my bed store story. So, other thing this weekend, I hosted a special. I got to open for my friend Ksenia. She recorded a special, filmed it. It'll be out somewhere. I'll keep people updated. It was very fun. It was in LA, and she did a great job. My shows this weekend are all sold out, so you can't come. That's not true. I was just trying to put it out there for that Hemmons Elgin theater debut. No, I'm doing the Music Hall Lounge in New Hampshire, Portsmouth, New Hampshire, Friday, 2 shows. And then I'm doing the Bunton Coffee Company. I got to figure out how to say that name. Saturday, it's in New Jersey. It's not far from New York. You could like go see, I don't know, like Glengarry Glen Ross at 2 p.m. in New York, and then still go to my show at 7 p.m. in Boonton. At least I hope you can, because that's what I'm doing. And then Sunday, I'll be in Stamford, Connecticut for an afternoon show, which I was told is where it's at. So that's next week. And then the week after, I'll be in San Jose, California at the Improv, and Tracy, California at a small theater there. And then the next weekend, I'll be in Brea, California at the Improv, the Brea Improv on a Friday. I got an improv at the Friday. Things are really turning around since I got fired. So thanks everybody for listening. Don't fire the podcast. I mean, do whatever is good for you. I really appreciate it. Anything else from what are we talking about? How long did it last? Nightmare? Is it nightmares or nightmares? What do you say? I've always said nightmares, but it's spelled like the horse, nightmares. But so I think I'm wrong, but I haven't changed yet. So I don't know how you're going to communicate with me, whether I'm wrong or not. Man, I might have to save that one for next time. But all right. Thank you. I respect everybody. I appreciate everybody. Thank you.